Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soybifa Jagridge. A powerful tornado ripped through a small Iowa town, killing multiple people and leaving at least a dozen injured. Authorities said images from the town of Greenfield show a path of utter destruction, with homes reduced to splinters, debris strewn everywhere, and several large wind turbines toppled. This tornado has devastated a good portion of this town, said Sergeant Alex Dinkla, a spokesperson with the Iowa State Patrol, during an evening press conference in Greenfield. We can confirmed there have been multiple fatalities with this tornado. Dinkla did not provide a death toll but said it may not be before Wednesday that figures could be provided. At least a dozen people in Greenfield, a town of about 2,000 people, were injured in the twister, Dinkla said. Because the local hospital sustained damage in the storm, those people had to be transferred to facilities in nearby towns. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds said she would visit Greenfield on Wednesday morning. While it's too soon to know the storm's full impact, answers will come in the hours and day ahead, Reynolds said in a statement. The governor said the state would provide its full resources to help the impacted area recover and reassured residents that support was in place, working to provide shelter, food and water and restore power to thousands of residents. Britain's banking and financial regulators said they had fined US bank Citigroup more than £61.6 million, that is €78.5 million, for failures in its trading systems and controls. The fine is one of the largest for controls breaches in the UK since the global financial crisis in 2008 to 2009. The Prudential Regulation Authority (PRA) said in a statement that problems at Citigroup Global Markets Limited had crystallized into trading incidents, including one in May 2022 when an experienced trader incorrectly imputed an order that led to $1.4 billion being executed on European exchanges by mistake. Deficiencies in CGML's trading controls contributed to this accident, in particular the absence of certain preventative hard blocks and the inappropriate calibration of other controls, the PR said. Citi had received repeatedly supervisory communication from the PRA to improve, but weaknesses persisted, the regulator said. The Prudential Regulation Authority said it had fined Citi £33.88 million for failings in its trading systems and controls between 1st April 2018 and 31st May 2022. That fine had been reduced by 30% after Citi agreed to resolve the issue. The Financial Regulation Authority, in the same statement, said it fined Citi £27.76 million after an investigation into similar matters. Europe's landmark rules on artificial intelligence will enter into force next month after EU countries endorsed a political deal reached in December, setting a potential global benchmark for a technology used in business and everyday life. The European Union's AI Act is more comprehensive than the United States' light touch voluntary compliance approach, while China's approach aims to maintain social stability and state control. The vote by EU countries came 2 months after EU lawmakers backed the AI legislation drafted by the European Commission in 2021 after making a number of key changes. Concerns about AI contributing to misinformation, fake news and copyrighted material have intensified globally in recent months amid the growing popularity of generative AI systems such as Microsoft-backed OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's chatbot Gemini. The AI Act imposes strict transparency obligations on high-risk AI systems, while such requirements for general-purpose AI models will be lighter. It restricts government use of real-time biometric surveillance in public spaces to cases of certain crimes, prevention of terrorist attacks, and searches for people suspected of the most serious crimes. The new legislation will have an impact beyond the 27-country bloc, said Patrick Van Ecke at law firm Cooley. The act will have global reach companies outside the EU who use EU customer data in their AI platform platforms will need to comply. Other countries and regions are likely to use the AI Act as a blueprint, just as they did with the GDPR, he said, referring to EU privacy rules. While the new legislation will apply in 2026, bans on the use of artificial intelligence in social scoring, predictive policing, and untargeted scraping of facial images from the internet or CCTV footage will kick in 6 months once the new regulation enters into force. Donald Trump said he does not support a ban on birth control after coming under fire for months for comments he made earlier in the day that political opponents suggested he would consider restricting contraceptives. "I have never and will never advocate imposing restrictions on birth control," the Republican presidential candidate said on his social media site, Truth Social. He was asked in an interview with KDKA News in Pittsburgh if he supported any restrictions on the right of people to use contraception. "We are looking at that," he responded, "and I'm going to have a policy on that very shortly, and I think it's something that you would find interesting." Asked if that included the so-called morning after pill, Trump said, "Things really do have a lot to do with the states, and some states are going to have different policy than others." The fight over reproductive rights is a flashpoint in the 2024 presidential race. Opinion polls shows most Americans don't favor strict limits on those rights, and Democrats are hoping the issue will encourage millions of women and independents to vote their way. Democrat Joe Biden's campaign swiftly posted Trump's response on social media platform X, contending that Trump had said he would restrict the pill's use. Trump, in his social media response, said Democrats were lying about his stance. Trump was not asked about limits on the abortion drug mifepristone, which is used as part of a two-drug regimen to end pregnancies and not as a contraceptive. Trump has promised for weeks to release a policy about mifepristone, which regards to its use in states that restrict surgical abortions. Medication abortion has become the most common method of ending pregnancies, now accounting for more than 60% of U.S. abortions. The U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule by late June on a challenge to the Food and Drug Administration's regulations that allow for medication abortions at up to 10 weeks of pregnancy instead of 7, and for May delivery of the drug used to end pregnancies without a woman first seeing a clinician in person. Chelsea's decision to part ways with manager Mauricio Pochettino surprised many former players who believed it could torpedo the club's endeavour to return to the top of the Premier League. Pochettino joined Chelsea ahead of the 2023-2024 campaign after the club finished 12th in the previous season. The early months of the Argentine's tenure were far from convincing as the expensively assembled squad took time to gel, but a run of 5 straight wins in their last 5 league games lifted them to 6th place and secured European football. Former Chelsea player Greg Borley did not hold back on his assessment of Chelsea's decision, saying it displayed a lack of vision. "It's all a bit of mess, honestly," Borley told ESPN. He wasn't without fault this year, but they did finish strong. "Chelsea just don't have a vision. They are stumbling from one manager to the next. There's not really many managers out there right now," ex-Chelsea midfielder Gus Poyet said. Pochettino's exit was difficult to understand, telling Sky Sports, "Everyone close to Chelsea was expecting a great summer and something important for next year. But we don't know the inside. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. It was kind of impossible." Ex-Chelsea and France defender Frank Leboeuf said Pochettino's departure had plunged the club's future into uncertainty. Chelsea's Cole Palmer, named the Premier League's Young Player of the Season after a Super B campaign, thanked Pochettino in a post on Instagram. "Thank you for everything you have done for me and making my dreams come true. All the best," Palmer said. According to reports in British media, Ipswich town manager Kieran McKenna, Sporting Lisbon Ruben Amorim, and ex-Brighton manager Roberto De Zerbi are among the leading candidates for the vacant managerial role at Chelsea. That is the size of top accolades of all